Do you struggle with overthinking? If you're a man and you want to find the right girlfriend or wife, this video is for you. I'm going to give you some very practical ideas on how you can come overthinking and putting pressure on yourself, and how we can actually utilize pressure, because in the right doses, it isn't even a bad thing. First of all, before we go into overthinking, let's look at pressure. Pressure doesn't refer to air pressure. If you were to hold up a barometer, no matter how stressed you feel, the air pressure will always be the same. That's what Günther Schmidt, one of Germany's best psychologists, told me in a seminar many years ago. And it's so true. It's not the external pressure that changes. It is absolutely 100% within you. Now, feeling zero pressure would mean you have no emotional incentive whatsoever, no drive to take action. Because remember, emotions creates motion, and also motion creates emotion. In other words, if you move your body, which is something we're going to talk about a little bit later, that also generates emotion. But you wouldn't be driven to take any action whatsoever if you felt zero pressure. So some pressure is perfectly fine. Now, pressure has utility until it doesn't. There comes a point of diminishing returns where it's too much pressure, where you feel overwhelmed, where your own sense of competence is diminished. And so you have to just recognize, do I feel driven and or is it overwhelming? Do I get stressed? In that case, you just need to decrease the pressure. Now you might say, how do I do that? Well, first of all, we start with physiology. Because remember, Tony Robbins and Günther Schmidt and people like that, they've been teaching that for many years. There's three things that determine how we feel. What we focus on, our language patterns, and our physiology. Yes, the external world obviously plays a role, because otherwise, why would we be looking for the right girlfriend or wife anyway if it wasn't going to make us happy? But what's ultimately going to determine how you feel, which is something you're absolutely in control of, is your focus, your language patterns, and your physiology. In other words, anything that goes into your body and your brain, and how you use that. Physiology. Whether you work out or not, whether you lift heavy weights or not, whether you get sunlight or not, whether you walk confidently or not, how you speak, how much certainty you put behind your words, how you use your body, all has an impact on how you feel. And that then makes you more or less competent. So the pressure can stay the same. But if my own sense of competence rises because I use tools to change my physiology, well, my subjective experience of the pressure changes. It feels like the pressure got less, but it didn't. I just changed how I perceive myself within the own realm of subjective confidence, whether I perceive myself to be competent or not. And exercising, sleep, sunlight, social contact also plays a big role. Spending time with high-quality male friends is a big one. Remember the last time you spent time with some friends and you were just laughing, you were just talking shit, having fun, maybe you were meeting women together, and maybe you went to the gym together, maybe you talked about business, maybe we were just having fun. Don't you feel like the world is perfectly in order? Don't you feel like problems don't even matter anymore? Spending time around high-quality male friends increases your testosterone. It increases your dopamine. If you hug them, it increases your oxytocin. You feel neurologically stronger. You get empowered. Therefore, even if the pressure on the outside doesn't change, your subjective experience of it changes. So it decreases the pressure internally because it decreases stress. Cortisol lower, adrenaline lower, all that. So that's physiology. Now, how else can you decrease your own feeling of pressure? And it ties directly into overthinking, by the way, even though I have a couple of very important tools for overthinking specifically. But all that ties into it, because whether you overthink or not depends on whether your mind is racing. And whether your mind is racing or not also is largely impacted by your physiology. If you have a strong workout, don't you feel that when you lift heavy weights for an hour, by the way, this is not about looking shredded, yeah, that's great, but it's really about how you feel. Don't you feel that the quality of your thoughts automatically improve? Because remember, yes, thoughts produce emotions, we all know that, but emotions also produce thoughts. It's called state-dependent memory. It's very difficult to think yourself out of a negative mood once you're in it. Ever felt really overwhelmed or stressed or angry and then I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy? Those affirmations, they don't work. It's complete nonsense. Sometimes you need to shift your emotions through behavior first, exercise, the way you walk. There's a million different tools for that. And then the quality of your thoughts automatically improve and your overthinking also gets decreased. That's that. Now, what is pressure ultimately determined by? Your own inner dialogue, the relationship you have with yourself. And if you experience pressure, you notice, I'm here, I want to be here, I feel unable to bridge the gap. That's really when people get depressed. When you feel down or frustrated or depressed or whatever word you want to use, depending on how dramatic you want to make it sound, that's what happens. You notice that where you are does not match where you want to be, and you feel unable to bridge the gap. That's a big one. So now we can change where you are and bring it closer to the goal. But if you feel stressed right now, that's not really going to help you. So sometimes just changing the goal decreases pressure instantaneously. So I already should be in an amazing relationship. Well, get stressed. I already should have this promotion. I already should have whatever, the next branch of my business open. I should have already hired this new position, whatever. New marketing channel, blah, blah, blah. No investments. I should already. Okay, that's the goal. You're not there. And if it's motivating you to take action, it's fine. Remember, this is always about your own subjective experience of competence. As long as you perceive yourself as competent and driven, maybe a little stressed, but driven, no issue. When it gets overwhelming, then you need to reduce it. And then you can just, if you equate the goal with where you currently are, that's meditation. That's where you accept where you currently are. That's part of the reason why it decreases stress. There's other physiological reasons for it. But if you just accept where you are right now, and you basically overlap where you are with where you want to be, you say it's perfectly fine for me to be where I am right now. Focus on the breath. Not trying to breathe actively. Remember, your body breathes itself. It's done so for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Focus on the breath, and then you notice, ooh, thoughts appear. But I should be doing this. Okay. There's a thought. And you allow the thought to arise in the space of loving awareness. But you don't associate with the thought. Because you're not the thought! It's just the thought. Now you can go into the thought and empower it, believe it, but remember, the only thoughts that have power over us are the thoughts we choose to believe. And when you're suffering, you're basically believing a thought that isn't real. That's what you got to keep in mind. When you're suffering, when you're in pain, stressed, overwhelmed, overthinking, you're believing thoughts that aren't real. So, meditation, powerful tool. You don't have to do a half an hour meditation to just say, it's okay for me to be where I am right now. Now, doesn't mean I don't want to go here. Maybe you'll need to find new strategies, mentors, coaches. Apply for a free initial consultation call if you want our help with that. Fine, there's a million different strategies. Get external help. Of course, shortcut it. Find tools and ways to shortcut it so you can stop wasting your time. But if you're overthinking and you're feeling a little bit of pressure, decrease it. I'm perfectly fine where I am right now, and I want to go here. So let's change this. Because basically what you're ultimately doing is you're changing from pain motivation, avoiding pain motivation, away from motivation, towards motivation, to pleasure motivation. Instead of just trying to run away from the pressure, you're saying, okay, this is where I want to go. And you let the positivity drive you and fuel you. Yeah, it is absolutely true that sometimes pain is an amazing motivator, for sure. But Tony says willpower is going to burn you out in the long term. Pull is going to carry you. Like, this is where I want to go, and I'm experiencing the joy right now that I believe I would experience if I had XYZ goal achieved. That's a nice motivator. So, you notice where you are, you notice where you want to be, and there's a gap. And instead of just going all the way here, which is basically accepting where you are, a powerful tool, you can also just say, all right, maybe I just need to decrease it. So for example, I should be able to just approach a woman directly in a bar. Excuse me a second, you're really cute, I had to come and say hi. Love your posture. Amazing hair. Amazing outfit. But what the fuck is with those shoes? Jesus Christ. Whatever. Playful, teasy, line, whatever you want to do. It's not about the opener, by the way. The opener doesn't matter. You can open up the conversation with anything. The magic is what happens after the opener. And you think, I should already be able to do this, but I'm experiencing approach anxiety and I don't have the skill set yet. Okay, cool. Well, maybe you can just lower your expectations for what you should be able to do right now, because you can tell yourself you should be able to do that, but subjectively, your unconscious, it isn't there yet. Yeah, fine. Then you can just walk by and say, hey, and keep walking. Then you can ask for directions. Hey, sorry, where's the toilet? Okay, great. You can just say, hey, how do I get to McDonald's? Great. You approach a dude. Doesn't mean you need to. I get what I'm saying? Doesn't mean you need to do that. Nothing wrong with that either. But it doesn't mean you need to go that way. It's just for practice. And then maybe you can approach somebody who's not that physically attractive. Then maybe you approach somebody who's physically attractive, but you just give her one compliment and walk away. Right? You build a progressive desensitization. Step by step. When you're overwhelmed, you're oftentimes expecting yourself to be able to do too many things in too short a period at a time. Patience is a virtue. Now, not saying that, it doesn't matter, the right one will come when the time is right. No, you have to take strategic action. And you have to do X amount of approaches on dating apps, on Instagram, in person. You have to work on your communication skills. Absolutely. And you shouldn't waste your fucking time. But if you're in a state of overwhelm or overthinking, which is just a state, and you can change that in 2 minutes. Do an ice bath for 2 minutes, come out, and your mind will be a lot calmer. Go to the sauna, ice bath, lifting weights, ba-bum, punching, boxing, kicking, jiu-jitsu. You do something to massively change your physiology, and the quality of your thinking changes within minutes. The reason I'm very passionate about this particular subject is because I want you to know that you have way more control over your mental and emotional state than you think. A little bit approaching anxiety. And 99% of men have this. Men think, I could if I really wanted to. No, you can't approach. No, you can't. If you already had the skill set, you would be doing it. There's only 2 reasons ever why men wouldn't be doing this. One is approach anxiety, and the other one is a lack of skill set, not knowing how to keep a conversation going, how to build a man-to-woman connection. It's all a skill set. I have 2,000 to 3,000 short-form videos on TikTok, on Instagram, hundreds of YouTube videos for free. We have a paid coaching program. There's free resources. If you can afford it, get into the program. Apply for a free initial consultation call. One of my team members is going to get in touch with you. We've been able to help men from 32 countries find the right girlfriend, wife, get a better social life in general, find high-quality male friends. We've done it. We have the systems. You don't have to do it with us. If you can't afford it, use the free resources. But you have to take action, and you have to understand that if you get caught in overthinking or you have too much pressure, first is physiology, behavioral shifts, exercise. Go onto the bike, the treadmill, in the gym for an hour. You will feel significantly better. Go out with male friends. Approach women. No alcohol, no drugs. Reduce alcohol to a minimum. Again, you don't have to never drink again, but reduce it to a minimum. When you go out to meet people, if you go to bars, it's not necessary, but if you go to bars, don't drink. Are you a pussy? You need to drink when you go out? That's weak. The only reason you're doing that is because you haven't overcome approach anxiety, because you haven't done progressive desensitization yet. And yes, you can absolutely find a high-quality relationship without ever doing an approach. Absolutely, of course. Online dating apps are amazing if you know how to do it perfectly. But let me tell you something. If you already have children, there's a chance you have a son, 50% or even higher, whatever the mathematics of it are. If you want to have children in the future, there's a rather high probability you'll have a son. Do you not want to be able to teach your son something about dating? How can you call yourself a father if you can't even do an approach? If that triggers you, well, good. How can you call yourself a man if you can't even teach your son anything about one of the most important aspects of his life, which is dating? And if you don't, at least for a period of time, dedicate yourself to socializing, learning how to do this approach thing, and you don't have to do this forever, you just have to do that for a couple of months. If you don't dedicate yourself to doing this, the only thing you'll be able to teach your son and your daughter, it'll be a bit different what you'll bestow upon your daughter in terms of lessons around dating, of course, but your son, the only thing you'll be able to teach him is hearsay. Most men have opinions on dating and relationships, but they don't actually know what they're talking about because they don't have experience. You now have an amazing opportunity to actually get experience, to meet women, convey your personality authentically and effectively, overcome those fears. Because remember, you can't get the gold without the dragon. What you most want to find will be found where you least want to look. The magic that you're seeking is in the work that you're avoiding. So, that was around pressure. Now, overthinking specifically. Let's say you're on the date and you get stuck in your head. Okay, well, how do I stop myself from overthinking? Well, one is having a plan. So write down 20 to 30 stories about your life that you can whip out at any point in time. A story doesn't have to be 3 pages long. A story can be 3 sentences. Somebody asks me, David, or I were to meet a new lady, hypothetically speaking. Fernando and I have been together now for 4.5 years. We're engaged, and it's amazing. But if I were to talk to a new woman, and she asks me, what do you do? I say, well, so I used to work for some of those tech companies, some of those biggest tech companies, but then I realized I have a bit of a problem with authority, so then I started my own business. They're like, oh, wow, cool. Well, that's a story, okay? Now, I'm a coach. I'm not a business guy, right? I love coaching. I love being with men. I love people. I was coaching karate at my university back in the day. That's why I have an amazing job. Like, I like this. This is a form of coaching. It's obviously only like the tip of the iceberg, individual coaching, one-on-one coaching, group coaching. That obviously goes a lot deeper. But I love bestowing these lessons because I know 99% of people won't act on this. But there's 1% of people who will take the free advice that we give away in these videos, they put it into practice, and they're like, whoa, this actually works. It's just the tip of the iceberg. It's not even that I want to withhold information. It's like premium stuff that I'll only keep for the fucking clients. It's not even that. Some of the stuff I can't even share because the woke feminists, they would ban my account probably. I'm not even doing anything bad, but it's just there's things that are like a little bit not politically correct that they don't want to hear. So yeah, listen, you need to put these things into practice and dedicate yourself to becoming the best communicator you can possibly be. Jordan Peterson says this. One of the most important skills a man has to develop is communication skills. So, going back, if you're on the date and you get caught in overthinking, then just have stories written. Because becoming a good communicator also means being prepared. I'm not making new stuff up all the time. Yeah, sometimes I bring in a new story here and there, but almost everything I say, I had zero preparation before this video. I didn't, 30 seconds before the camera was on, I swear to God, or maybe a minute or two, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. And then I thought about a conversation that I had with a client earlier today who struggled with overthinking, and that was the idea for this video. But I'm not making stuff up. I've said a lot of these things. I've been coaching for 4 years, right? Hundreds of men from all around the world. So a lot of these things I have said before, so a lot of it is preparation. And then a lot of it is also practice. And then it's lowering, again, your own expectations. Pressure, expectations, standards. If you just lower the standards for how good what you could say has to be before you can say it, you'll be able to flow with it. You just think, oh, I wonder if she likes it. She's so beautiful. I hope she likes me. Well, she's really pretty. I hope I like her. She's really pretty. Let's see if she's smart. That's a different frame, isn't it? Just affirm that the next time in your head. You're on a date and you say, wow, she's really pretty. I hope I like her. Just that. 3% different, 7% different. And then you make all these small little adjustments, and then you arrive at a completely different destination. Being able to find that amazing woman, creating and sustaining attraction, it is just a skill set. So write down stories. That's one. And then if you get caught overthinking, or rather if you catch yourself overthinking on the date, then you can simply become aware of the thoughts. You can become aware of the trap of overthinking. You're like, oh, because there's usually a thought that's called overthinking. Oh, I hope this, I hope that. What, I would ask you right now, what is the character of your thoughts when you're overthinking? There's usually a pattern. Overthinking doesn't manifest itself in 32 different ways for you, does it? It manifests itself in pretty much the same 2 or 3 ways. What are your thoughts? When you're overthinking, what does it feel like? What does it look like? What do you hear? What do you say to yourself? Oh, I hope this. I hope that. Maybe it's just the mind racing. Maybe it's blanking. Okay? So being prepared, having a story, being able to whip something out, and then being able to go into ping pong. This obviously goes a lot deeper. And in my coaching program, we teach strategies that are insanely effective for storytelling, creating a man-to-woman connection. So again, apply for a free initial consultation call. But do also, you can do that now. Write down 20 to 30 stories. Some romantic, some that convey your deepest passions, some that are vulnerable, some about family, some about your goals, where you're going as a man, some fun experiences from the past. You have so many exciting things about your life, you just communicate them in a boring as fuck fashion. Your communication is boring as fuck. That's why women lose interest in you. Not you. You're not boring. You're the furthest thing from it. But you're just not communicating it. The product, who you are, really good. I'm sure you have your flaws. I have mine. We're all working on them, right? Self-development is never going to end. It's just you're communicating it in a way where her vagina dries out so instantaneously that then she'll say, you know what? rather not. Unless you brought a big bottle of lube to counteract the dryness that you just caused with your boring as fuck storytelling, I'd rather go home, shake your hand, and tell you it was nice to meet you, which is the greatest insult known to man. So, point being, you can really change this, okay? Overthinking is just a habit. Another tactic, another gold nugget, is turn your attention outward. If you turn your attention from you to her, then a lot of the self-criticism, pressure, overthinking stops. Because you can only suffer when you focus on yourself. Tony Robbins says this. We suffer when we obsess about ourselves. And if you actually let that sink in, the times you've suffered the most, you were obsessed about yourself. You think you were selfless, but you were actually selfish. If you actually dedicate yourself to something bigger and realize, oh wow, this dating and relationship thing isn't just for me, I'm not just doing that just so that I become happy, but I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you don't make yourself happy, you're having a direct negative impact on the people around you. Because you're not just impacting the people around you, your friends, your family members, your future wife, your current children, your future children, your business partners, your employees, by the words you utter, but also by the quality of your energy. And if your energy is a little bit low, well, then you're affecting their energy. You have to make yourself happy first to be able to have an empowering impact on other people. It is your responsibility to make yourself happy. Refuse the suffering. Jack Kornfield says, we're so loyal to our suffering. My invitation here to you today is to just be loyal to what deserves loyalty. And the suffering does not deserve loyalty. You can create an empowering mental and emotional state, a confident, a certain mental and emotional state, a calm mind every single day. There were a lot of tools in here. If you want us to help you personally, amazing. Look at the other YouTube videos on this channel. We have a podcast. We have 2,000 to 3,000 short form videos with short, amazing pieces of advice. Put it into practice. Never just listen to the information passively without taking action. Take some type of action. Book some time in your Google Calendar for next Friday night or Saturday night to go and socialize. Take online dating serious. Do something, because things only become real when you put them in the calendar. Take action. It's momentum. Otherwise, you're just going to keep mentally masturbating. Most people are just going to sit and be like, oh yeah, because I'm just going to think about it. And then you'll sit here for the next couple of fucking years, waste your time, maybe lose half your shit. Take action, motherfucker. Wish you all the best. Take care.